Okay, it is 6:30. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is a regular town board meeting for the town of Enfield on Wednesday, January 11th at 6:30 PM via Zoom and in person at the Enfield Town Courthouse. Just as a reminder, this meeting is being recorded. We will start with privilege of the floor. I think everybody knows the rundown, so I'm not going to go through the rules, but anyone for privilege of the floor?
Yeah, I'll wait till they finish the pledge because I got a note saying I'm being very disrespectful, not standing.
They are actually not on, so I don't believe the Heatheringtons are here to lead the pledge.
Well, I will take their role, if I may.
Okay.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You wanted to speak?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I wanted to mention that I happened to attend the Kwanzaa celebration at the Enfield Community Center, and I thought it was great. The ARE, Anti-Racist Enfield, they had it down pat. They had great speakers, a great mix of people there. Our former supervisor, Ann Ryder was there. She did a great job. I think everybody did. Phoebe gave a great speech. Dr. Nia Nunn gave a wonderful speech. She always does. She always ties it into children, and it's hard to lose with that formula. But a really great presentation they gave. And I did write down the 7 days of Kwanzaa, what they represent, because we kind of just experienced Kwanzaa. There wasn't a lot of instruction about what the days stand for and all of that, but it was just an amazing, I was glad I came out. What a great day it was. Okay, what do the 7 days of Kwanzaa represent? And this was important to me because we just finished Christmas, and you know, I got grandkids. What am I gonna get? What am I gonna get? And Kwanzaa is just so different from that. Okay, I mean, the first day, I believe, I'm trying to look it up now because I don't remember them, is Ujamaa or Unity. Okay, come on, phone. One is collective community agreement toward economic matters. These are not what I would consider Christmas ideals. But I'm missing, oh geez, the rest of it. I'm sorry, my 3 minutes is probably up, but I'll get it at the end. But you know, I thought they did an amazing job. It was a nice mixture of people, some I have never seen before. And I just have to give kudos to ARE. I thought they did a wonderful job. I've never been to a Kwanzaa celebration. I always realized this Kwanzaa and, you know, happy Kwanzaa and this, that, and the other. But the whole feeling was community based and about the children and about faith and things like that, not about receiving presents. I thought that was right after Christmas. I mean, it was on the 28th. It was an interesting kind of juxtaposition. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's great. Anyone else for privilege of the floor?
If I don't see anybody else, I wanted to make just a couple comments about what's going on downtown, a couple things. And also, I wish this board well as we start 2023, that we have a productive year and we get a lot accomplished and we serve Enfield well. Two things that are going on in county government right now. One of them affects, if you'll recall, the local advisory boards of assessment review that we had resolved, I believe, in late October, that they continue. On Thursday of last week, the 5th, the Government Operations Committee of the county legislature adopted a resolution 4-1 that would suspend those advisory boards indefinitely. There had been talk a month ago about suspending them 1 year to allow retooling of the grievance process. Well, the resolution that was adopted and forwarded to the full legislature for action would suspend them indefinitely. After the meeting, I asked Director of Assessment Jay Franklin if Enfield could convene its own advisory committee on assessment review. He said he'd have to check with the county attorney on it. I have not heard back from him. That's point one. So that's up in the air right now. We could decide if Jay Franklin says it's okay, we could decide in future meetings whether we are going to have a local advisory board. That's not something we have to decide tonight. The other thing was, I want to give a shout out to Randy Brown at the Tompkins County Legislature meeting last Tuesday, the 3rd, I believe it was. He made more comments in favor of Enfield and Newfield and his disappointment that we were frozen out of community recovery funds. He said, among other things, quote, "I received over 25 emails and phone calls since our vote on the 20th. That was the vote when we were denied any funding. And none of them were good," said Brown. "People are so disappointed," he continued, "and some of them feel they were disregarded completely." And then he said this, "And that really goes to the history of how Enfield Newfield feels. This isn't just an ARPA thing." He referenced the federal funding pot from which community recovery funds are drawn. Quote, "No, they feel, and I feel, that the county has not really considered Newfield and Enfield, and maybe other people feel that way as well." He said one thing more. Enfield got nothing. It's my failure. It's our failure, meaning the county legislature. So thank you, Randy Brown, for standing up for us. I hope that there will be further funding opportunities, but I wanted to give the board an update on where things stand. Thank you.
Yeah, you're here. Anyone else for privilege of the floor? I am going, oops, sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and take a minute for privilege of the floor for myself. I am kind of running up against a stressful situation. As many of you know, I've taken a position with the Assembly Member Anna Kellis as a legislative aide recently. It's only a part-time position working on policy. The reason I am suddenly coming up against this is the Ethics Commission. There may be considered a conflict of interest in advocating for the town and working for state legislature. So right now, I'm going to be reviewed and I have to wait for the Ethics Commission's opinion on even if I can keep both positions. They will decide what they're going to allow. If they do allow me to keep both positions, there are certain things that I will have to be careful of. I will have to recuse myself if we are advocating for something at the state level. Often we send them letters or, resolutions. I will have to recuse myself from discussions and voting on those matters. Also, I may have to find out if the deputy supervisor can sign off on applications for state funding when I apply for grants for the town. So there's aspects like that. Additionally, I can't directly advocate for Enfield residents at the state legislature. So the state, any residents are welcome to call the state assembly's office. I'll call Anna Kellis's office at any point. But please don't talk to me directly to advocate for those because I can't. I don't mean to be rude. I'm not allowed to. And so I'll just pass you on to them. And honestly, it's not my position in Anna Kellis's office anyway. I'm not there for constituent relations. I'm there strictly for policy issues. I will be a member of her team, but that's not primarily what I'll be doing. So I just wanted to keep the board and residents apprised of this. I won't know what their decision is until the end of January. And like I said, they may make me choose one way or another. Hopefully they won't. Hopefully they'll just put some restrictions on what I am allowed to do.
I want to congratulate you on your position. You might want to do two things. Number one, you might want to explain to members of the public who might not know, or people who will be listening in on the audio minutes or whatever, what your position is with Assemblyperson Kellis's office. And number two, you might want to put what you just said in writing, and so that we would have it so that it would be firm as to what you can, at this point, this preliminary point, what you feel comfortable doing and what you feel uncomfortable doing.
So just to make it clear, as of right, yeah, they're kind of at a no harm, no foul until the end of January, when I get a definitive decision, but just to be careful about that, I will not be participating in discussions that, or voting for issues that are related to state advocacy. So for members of the public that have not heard this, I have taken a position with Assemblymember Anna Kellis's office as a legislative aide. So I was working with her already on environmental policy through other advocacy groups. And so I've now joined their team as a member of their team, only part-time, so I can continue in this, I'm hoping to continue in this position and doing the other, lake monitoring work that I do. So that's where things stand right now, and I will have an update hopefully by the end of the month.
And probably if you have an update by the end of the month, which precludes your further service, you probably should act sooner rather than later so that we make sure there's continuity of service. I hope that's not the case. I hope we have stability here.
Yeah, I don't.
But, just in that particular instance.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to go through their process and whatnot first before I know anything. So,
Again, congratulations.
thank you. It's pretty exciting. I mean, they're doing some really big stuff. I mean, it'll make global impacts. They're an amazing team. So, anyone else for privilege of the floor? Okay, so and next we have additions and changes to the agenda. I have a few things. We will need a motion to remove Betty Poole from the bank accounts and add Thomas Schlee. We will need to set the audit meeting, which we've already technically set as January 13th, this Friday, but we will officially set it on record. We will need to set the Restore New York public hearing before January 27th. That's when all that paperwork needs to be due. And then Robert Lynch, Councilperson Lynch was going to add.
Yes, I want to add a motion to set the public hearing for a local law to establish a property tax exemption for volunteer firefighters and volunteer ambulance workers.
Okay,
I've written
so
that.
I'm going to plan on adding all that sort of at the end, if that's okay.
And also, do we need to call an executive session on a matter of personnel tonight?
We will not do that tonight. They cannot make it to this meeting. They're going to hopefully make it to the Friday meeting.
Thank
So
you.
we'll do it. Okay, anything else? Additions, changes? Okay, correspondence. Any correspondence?
You would receive the one request from the one group.
Oh, so we actually at the town cannot donate to, can I read it though, in case any town members, I can read it into the. You have it, Richard?
Somewhere here we have it.
It's the Williamsburg Raiders cheerleaders are fundraising. Is that correct? Why is that picking? Little Blue Raiders, okay. I'm just going to go ahead and read it in case other people are interested. To whom it may concern, my name is Michelle Votman.
Volkman.
I am the director of the Blue Raiders Community Cheerleading Program. The program serves the children in Tompkins County and Seneca counties. Each year we raise funds in order to give the kids in our communities the full cheer experience, from cheerleading on football team to attending competitions. We work hard to serve everyone in our community regardless of income. Cheerleading has become an expensive program, purchasing uniforms, safety equipment, insurance, competition fees, run us into the thousands each year. In order for us to offer this program, not just to those who can afford it, but also to those who cannot, we need your help. Our teams qualified for nationals in 2020, but were unable to attend due to COVID. This year, we are determined to get our kids to the national stage, but it means qualifying all over again. For us, registration fees for 20 members and 3 coaches are the biggest need at this time. This competition season will cost our program almost $10,000. Won't you help us make the kids' dream come true? Any amount of help is welcome. All donations will be acknowledged on our Facebook and Instagram accounts as season sponsors. If you are interested or have any further questions, please feel free to contact me. And then it gives her contact information, which I'm sure you all can get from our town clerk if you're interested. It sounds like a great program. Unfortunately, the town is unable to donate to things like this without, contract set in place. So
The other one was the Stone and Farm, was just notifying the town that they had the intent to apply for a liquor license.
Which is a great new business, and I have been up there and really enjoyed myself. So. Let's see. Any other correspondence? Okay. Let's go ahead and start with our county legislature. It looks like Ann Foreman is on. I'm gonna ask to unmute. Oh. Hey, Ann. There you go.
Hi, Stephanie. Hi, everybody there. So yeah, I have a couple updates. I have the sales tax report for October. I'm not sure if you want that. I think you guys,
We don't actually take things in the way that other towns do with sales tax, but
Right.
I think
Okay.
it's interesting for our discussion purposes.
okay. Actually think my computer restarted, so I'll look for that while I'm giving you the other updates. So I hate that. Let's see. So as the beginning of the new year, at our first legislative meeting, we voted in, we do a new chair and vice chair every year for the legislature, and we reelected Shauna Black as chair. And this year, the vice chair, we voted in Dan Klein. We don't have our committee assignments yet. That'll be coming in the next couple of weeks, and our committees change as of February each year. Regarding assessment values, I just wanted to say a couple things about that. We had gone back and forth a couple times during the year for assessment values for properties, talking about would we do a partial assessment to make it a little bit easier for our assessment department to deal with, since property values had risen so much. The final decision was made to keep it at 100% assessment to make it more understandable by the community. And let's see, we also, as far as the assessment office, we had been having the assessment board reviews in the different municipalities. And I know Bob Lynch keeps up on this, so he might have already announced this. But we voted to not have, well, it's going through committee actually, so it'll be voted on at the next legislative meeting. But it got voted through committee to not have assessment board reviews for this year. And but we left it open that, we could change it, that it's not going to be permanent. What was looked at was the amount of staff time and throughout the county, the few number of people that came to the boards, versus how much work they could do individually working with people throughout the community. And just to let people know, you can go in person, you can call if you want. There's a form to fill out too, but the staff there will help you if you want to challenge your assessment or ask any questions. And they will also come out and meet with you one-on-one at your property. So they're still offering quite a lot to help people if they want to challenge or just talk about what their assessment is right now, or if it gets changed. I just went to a meeting where we had a good review from Bob Howarth, a local scientist, talking about the Climate Action Council, the New York State Climate Action Council, and their final scoping plan. So there's going to be a lot of different things coming for municipalities, for the county, down from New York State, where it could affect, well, it will be affecting buildings, agriculture, transportation, with their environmental goals and programs. So we'll work on how we can get that information to the county and then down through to the municipalities, because this will over the next many years, this will be affecting everybody. So we want to make sure everybody gets the information, especially the municipalities, as much as they can, and well, of course, the residents. We had a couple of staffing changes. Kathy Covert retired after 31 years as in our clerk's department at the legislature. And Katrina McCloy was appointed the new head clerk at the clerk's office. And just for people to know too, we also have two other clerks, Brittany Gripe and Taylor. Oh my gosh, I'm terrible with names. Taylor, I can't think of her last name right now, but we have so we have total of three clerks right now, and so we're fully staffed. So that's good. We're going to be we are putting out some information regarding combining mental health and the public health department. And that's been a process for the past year or two. And it's going to be called Whole Health. And for folks that haven't heard a lot about it, it's to get rid of this stigma around people needing and accessing mental health services. And more well, just as important, I should say, is it helps coordinate services, because if you're looking at a whole person, we don't just have mental health issues totally separate from any physical issues. So it's to coordinate services better and make it accessible, to help us coordinate services better, and also to help the community members access services rather than having different silos for different services that we have. And the last thing, which I saved for last, which I know Robert just spoke about recently or a couple minutes ago, the community recovery grants that we had at the county, the 6.5 million. We've awarded most of that money already. We had, I think, around 220, the number fluctuated around 220 applications. We narrowed it down to 51 or 52. And I was on that committee, and it was very hard. It was very hard to pick. There was a lot of every grant actually was very worthy. And I did go to bat and vote for the ones that came out of Enfield. And I am sorry that those didn't get passed. And I am dedicated to working on figuring out how we can help Enfield and the other smaller rural municipalities access grants and funding. So that's a goal of mine, to help Enfield and again the whole county in figuring out how we can access more money for different organizations. And that's all I have right now. And I'll
Thank you,
look
Ann.
for
Any questions
that.
for Ann?
I have one question. You've explained the Community Recovery Fund decisions. I was there at the meeting on the 20th when this decision was made. Your colleague from Newfield, who also represents half of Enfield, Randy Brown, voted against the package that the committee recommended. He also voted against funding $1.5 million for Cayuga Medical Center to fund a crisis stabilization center for mental health. You voted for that package, even though it provided absolutely nothing for Enfield or its agencies. And I'll let you explain why you voted yes, even though Mr. Brown voted no.
Well, I won't speak for Randy, but I'll speak for myself. For that particular grant, and a lot of the grants that we did wind up voting for, they affected the whole community. So mental health, improving mental health services at the through Cayuga Health, for which is based in this county. I am all for. I had personal experience. I've heard a lot of people in the community and through the county, our health department. We need better mental health services at the centralized in the at Cuga Health. Well, and I know there was also some grants applications for other services for mental health, but that is one that I thought could affect, the most amount of people. And so I voted for that. It's kind of hard to say why I voted for that and not others. I don't know if that's what you're getting at, but I think that's we're severely lacking in our mental health services, especially emergency services and inpatient services here in this county.
Guess the problem I have is that you're talking about a hospital corporation with like $130 million investment portfolio. And, they've got money, to them, $1.5 million is really pocket change. And we talk about mental health. We had a mental health application right here in Enfield. The Enfield Community Council wanted to establish a mental health services wing, and it would only have cost about $200,000. And we, the town board, were going to kick in some money toward it too. And I guess I say, yes, we need mental health countywide. We also need mental health in Enfield. And it seems like it would have been quite a bargain to put that money toward the Enfield Community Council's application. Whereas the hospital had a lot of money, it could have found the resources for its small-based crisis stabilization center elsewhere. That was Randy Brown's opinion, and that's also my opinion. And I guess that's the opinion of many people in Enfield, just so you know.
Thanks, Bob. And I did vote for actually all I think it was all three applications for the grants, including that one for mental health from Enfield. And I did push and talk to my colleagues, and I'm sorry those didn't pass.
Thank you.
Do you know if they will have another round of funding, and hopefully they will not take more applications? They will work on the applications they've already received. So our Enfield, grant applications will have another chance.
Right now, as far as we're looking at, I think the only funds that would be available, well, and as I said, there's 51, possibly 52 grants that are going to be awarded, and that's a lot of grants. And I know you and and there's other people here who have experience with grants, so that's a lot of organizations, and we're expecting that there's going to be at least several that aren't going to be able to use that money, and for various reasons. And when we contract with them or go through their whatever project or whatever they're going to use that money for. So then when that opens up, we're hoping to know that by I think, probably within 3 to 4 months, we might have some preliminary information if there's money open. And yes, we are talking about that. As far as everybody I've talked to in the legislature is, yes, not ask people to apply again, is to use the grants or the grant applications that have already been written up and submitted.
So if there's anything that we as the town board can do to advocate for more funding for that, just let us know.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Anne? Councilperson Lynch, can you sign this, please? Councilperson Lynch. Robert. Okay, so next we have the supervisory report. Mostly this month I've been working on the Restore New York grants, trying to get that ready. It's due by the 27th of January. And then we've been working with the transition for the new justice and the court clerk. They're going smoothly. Things are getting there. They will have their first court session on Tuesday. The new hours will be Tuesdays at 6 PM will be the new court session. So I know a lot of residents have been concerned about not being able to access our court during this transition, and they've been concerned with the timeline. So just to let folks know that's happening, and we will post that on our website, and if people can spread that on social media, so residents know that
The justice,
the justice.
who is the justice?
Oh, Thomas Schlee,
Thomas Schlee, and
Yeah,
he's from
he's
Ulysses, right?
Ulysses, yep. And Heather Knutson is our new court clerk. So they've been working really hard at getting everything ready, and they should be pretty well ready to roll on Tuesday.
And just follow up from last meeting, even though we've got this justice coming in, he's going to accept Heather as his clerk. There's no discretionary problem. He's not going to bring a clerk from Ulysses or whatever.
No.
Good.
Although his clerk in Ulysses has offered her services to this clerk if she has any questions. So that was actually a really nice connection that we have there.
What's Heather's last name?
Knutson. And then other things, attended Zoom meetings with town supervisors, attended the planning board meeting, attended the monthly call for the county. And we facilitated a special meeting and attended a water protection committee meeting and other actions dictated by the town board for the supervisor. Any questions? Okay, next we have the clerk report.
Yeah, so we were quite busy over the last month. Preparing for the tax season, we were able to get the tax bills out before the end of the year, which we're very happy about, so we can get them in residents' hands. I do not have an update on the dog enumeration. Our numerator was out for a little bit, and I think she's gonna be resuming again here shortly. And yeah, we're just in the middle of tax season.
Right, any questions for Mary? I'm sure if anyone wants to bring her dinner, you're welcome. She's a busy lady right now. All right, next we have a report from our highway superintendent. I think you should be able to unmute yourself.
Not much to report. We've had a pretty quiet holiday season, and I only had been out a few times. Yesterday morning was a little slick out there for people for a little bit. We've been getting a lot of ditching done and other road work for digging. We've been working, I don't know if we've been working on West Enfield Center, the seasonal part, for a few weeks with the help of the county with their excavator, digging back bank and putting a cross pipe in. So the water, we had a property owner concerned about the water coming down to one side and going down through his property and making a gully down through it. So we've had to switch the water over to the other side of the road so it wouldn't do that. That was asked a couple years ago, and I'm just getting around doing it. I told him at the time that it wouldn't be a tomorrow project, but it is something that was promised to get done because it was destroying their property up there. And the salt barn project is totally completed as of today. That we've been waiting to get some things done, and that's all done as of today. And other than that, we've just been doing maintenance, and that's about it.
Thank you, Betty.
Questions?
I have a question. I actually maybe should have mentioned this under correspondence. I've been getting some calls from concerned residents because CAFOs are not allowed to spread their manure slurry on fields when it's frozen. So these last, week or so when it's been thawed, they've been doing a lot of spreading. There's one particular farm that's buying up and leasing a lot of land in Enfield recently. I won't name any names because I don't want a slap suit, but there's a lot of residents who are very upset with the amount of manure being spread, 60 feet from their door. I've seen, over 20 tankers a day coming down Applegate Road and then going down Sage Road and spreading right in front of somebody's house. It's been pretty bad. There's been a lot of, it looks like, damage done to Sage Road. It's definitely covered in a lot of slurry, and I feel really bad for the residents along that road. I'm wondering if it's going to impact the road conditions and if that's going to cost the town I did look into this with the DEC and whatnot, and apparently we have no recourse to ask for the CAFO to pay for any upgrades to the roads. Unlike a logging company, they are protected by ag and markets. So we will have to eat any cost for upgrades of that road for damage done. And so I'm wondering what we will be looking at, if anything, or if it's just, a surface issue.
I don't know. I have to check it out, but that's a dilemma that I've been sort of dealing with, and it's not just Sage Road. We're looking at Van Dorn's Road too, because there's land over there that they bought, and also they're on Buck Hill and they're on Harvey Hill and Infield Center Road West. But like you said, it's agriculture, and if they're working on their land, there's, even though those roads are posted, they still have a right to run them as long as they're working those fields. And this is not a poke at anybody. This is where I have a problem with residential things happening. And yet you want all this farming, but then we got these big farmers coming in and they're doing more damage than anything because of the heavy equipment and trucks and stuff. And it's just, and the same with the water issues. They tile the fields and put the water in the ditches, and then the ditches aren't big enough and the pipes aren't big enough to handle the extra water. But then the town, the highways are getting blamed for the water going down the ditches, but 50% of it's coming out of the fields now because of tiling and stuff. So.
I agree. I did, as I said, I talked to the DEC, and it seems like the only way that we have recourse is if we can document their manure actually reaching a year-round stream. It cannot be an intermittent stream. It cannot be a seasonal stream. It must be a year-round stream. And we have to actually document like brown foamy slurry directly from their field into that stream. So if any residents have that as an issue, please contact the DEC. If you need a phone number, I will give you one. Let's keep an eye on our creeks, because I have to say, I do water quality testing for the tributaries in Tompkins County, and we are very lucky to have Enfield Creek. It is the by far healthiest creek in all of Tompkins County. And that's going to change if we continue to allow this to happen. The DEC is also very frustrated because they are also hands tied to a permit. And so really it's an ag and markets issue, and that's a very strong lobby that we have no authority with. So.
They've been somewhat good in the past if they muddy up the road really bad and stuff, but if it's needs to be swept or something, then we do have to get over there and sweep it. And like the way things are right now, there's no way you can get in and out of anywhere that's not paved, that you don't spread mud down the road, because we're doing it ourselves, just working on the roads even. So, and our roads are taking a pretty good beating because it's not they're not frozen in the thaw, and we've been having a hard time ourselves working on that seasonal part as far as the mud. So.
Well, if you do notice road damage, if you could kind of keep a tab on that, I don't mind approaching ag and markets with letting them know what kind of damage is being done to our town.
That is just an oil and stone road. There's probably only a couple layers on it, so I wouldn't doubt it. Especially this way it is right now, everything's pumping up.
Yeah, it's been a mess. Any other questions for Buddy?
Yeah, I do have a question. What are they spreading?
Manure.
What
But
kind of,
slurried manure. So a CAFO will take all the manure, confinement animal production, like these sort of industrial cow farms.
okay,
So not like a small farmer that has they're like very much factory farmed. All the manure goes into these lagoons, right? They're a slurry at that point, and they then they have to keep them in the lagoons, and they are only allowed to spread during certain times. They can't spread on frozen ground, for example.
Mhm.
So there's a massive amount of spreading being done right now while everything's thawed before it gets into the frozen season. It's been a
I
mean,
do
it
know
went
they
up.
they chisel some of that in too, and I've seen the equipment go by, so I don't know where they're doing that at, but
Yep. Okay, well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Okay, code enforcement report.
First, I've also got calls about slurring on St. Road. I referred them to the DEC and Ag Markets for information, giving them personal information on what's allowed and what's not. But everything everybody said is correct, so not a lot they can do at this point. But yeah, residents are concerned for good reasons. So I have some totals for the year. I think I issued 63 permits for the year. A total of 8 new homes were built, permitted last year, which was about average. The fees are just over $10,000 in fees. With a total of $33,403,000 in estimated. I did meet with assessment today, actually, for a couple hours. They came out and went over a bunch of plans of houses so they can accurately assess any new construction going on. Made up a couple of road signs and issued one new house number for a house up on a couple house numbers actually on Harvey Hill Road. I've also started my annual training because it's January again and another 24 hours is coming up. So I'm trying to get an early start on that when it's not too busy. Last, I just got an email from the county. They're once again looking at shared services for code enforcement throughout the county and bunch of questionnaires on to fill out on how we do things, what we do, and who's in charge of all that. So that will probably be coming to town boards at some point.
I got this survey actually just before this meeting, so if I have questions, I might hit you up for some answers.
That's the same one I just got. I was looking at it. So that's all I had unless there was any questions.
Any questions?
I think I've heard from the county that if they do some kind of countywide code enforcement, it will be optional. It will not be mandatory. That it's not like going to be like assessment department where everybody has to have countywide assessment. That towns will be given the option. That at least was what has been discussed up till now. Who knows what will happen in the future, but so far this is just a study. And it does not mean that we necessarily will be forced to accept countywide code enforcement.
Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, it's difficult because the towns and the cities are so different. And, zoning laws and even building codes. Some have more restrictive codes than others, so it would be complicated for the county to do it, but it may happen in the future.
What does that mean exactly? What would that look like? Like if the,
So if we did not have a code enforcer, they would be the county code enforcer that would come.
and that's a bad thing because.
There's just some familiarity that Ellen has with our
Well, yeah,
town. There's
I mean,
there's pros and cons.
Gotcha.
So
As I understand it, it's just a study that's undergoing right now, that's underway, that there will be that they're not necessarily proposing creation of this, they're just studying the possibility of it.
Okay,
That is
sorry,
correct.
I just wasn't quite understanding what was going on.
Anne has her hand up. Anne?
Yeah, thanks. What the study is doing is seeing, for instance, if there's continuing education that could be helpful, that we could help bring, to this area, that because often we're hearing that it's, people have to travel, far to get continuing ed for code officers, so if there's something out of the ordinary, could the county have somebody on staff, to look at, that you could call and do for solar installations, PV installations, for instance. So, could we have an expert, to help you with that? Or could we provide the money to help you with that? So it's more, that's the type of thing that we're looking at, not consolidating code enforcement. At this time, that's not what municipalities are wanting. So that's not what of course, we wouldn't do something that the municipalities didn't want.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions? All right, so you want to give us the fire company report?
I think I have that. So last month, there was one structure fire, a total of 22 calls, one structure fire, one cooking fire, 22 EMS calls, 2 motor vehicle accidents with injuries, 1 motor vehicle accident without injuries, 1 hazardous condition, 1 public service assistance, 1 cover assignment, and 1 dispatch canceled en route. I also have a total of calls for the year, which Mary has, which everybody's interested in. They can send it down to you. But some of the interesting totals are 345 total calls last year, 200 EMS calls, 18 motor vehicle accidents, and 22 mutual aid calls. And a whole lot of other ones, which are 2 pages long, so we don't go into those. Trainings for the month. Tomorrow night we have truck checks. The following week we have a new gas meter coming. And a gentleman's coming down who's selling gas meters, going to come down and show us how to use and explain it to us. So give us our training on that. And I think the following week we're having a representative from NICE come and do some electrical training for us. If it's not that week, it'll be the following week, I think. So
Great.
That's what I had. Unless there's any questions.
I will note in that year report, 200 EMS calls out of 345 calls in total. That's what? Well over 50%, close to probably around 60% are EMS. So it shows where the emphasis is these days in the fire service locally.
Sure. More than 1 every other day, so.
All right, next we have Dan from the planning board. Dan, you should be able to unmute yourself. Thank you, Alan.
Unmute.
There we go.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. So we had a planning board meeting in January. The primary topic of discussion there was a continuation of a sketch plan review for the Breezy Meadows subdivision. The applicant wanted to talk with the board and understand what our concerns, the town's concerns are for the project. They have just started surveying, so I've noticed a surveyor driving by or picking up a rod man is in my front yard because I'm near this site. But they're planning to have the preliminary plat for the to be reviewed at the March planning board meeting. It's a pretty big site and the surveyor's got a lot of work to do to get the preliminary plat together. At that meeting, we'll review the preliminary plat, and if the planning board has concerns about it, we will request that the applicant modify that plat. After we review it, the environmental review starts in March. I anticipate that we will, if the documents are complete enough, we will have a public hearing on it at the April board meeting. And depending on comments that received there, the board will, may incorporate some requests for modifications into the plans. And the earliest I would expect that we would be doing possibly a resolution of approval would be at the May meeting, and it may extend off to the June meeting. The other activity we had 3 applicants for the vacancies. One of the applicants, Brianna, withdrew her application due to family issues, which we understand is fine. So we have an applicant for the planning board request gave it request that Rich Teeter would be reappointed as a planning board member. He's been active on the board and he does represent the business community in the town, which is one of the goals we strive for is to have broad representation on the planning board. And the other applicant, which is applied to, it is accepted the, he would accept the alternate position. So you have a resolution in the
Yep,
minutes
yep.
or oh, you've got a lot of resolutions.
I did add that one to the agenda though.
Right, so, the planning board is happy with that's the recommendation that planning board made is what's in your resolution.
Do you have a, can you give us a brief summary of the alternate?
Yeah, he's, I'm getting him.
Because his qualifications were quite strong, I think. it's
Yes,
helpful.
yes. He's had experience on a planning board in Ulysses, I believe in the town, in the village of Trumansburg. He is an urban and regional planner. He's working for Cayuga County, I believe. He has a lot of planning experience. He's been living in the town about somewhat under a year right now. They just moved into the town in 2022. So he's been a town resident for a few months. And we're anxious to have him participate as an alternate. Very often an alternate does become a voting member. If we've had a couple times where the alternate has to vote. But I believe he'll add a lot of professional expertise in the planning process and the seeker process to the board membership.
Okay, any other questions for Dan? Right, thank you, Dan.
Okay,
And thank you for the help with the EAF too.
okay, did you, yeah, I had to
Yeah,
go back
your
through
last
and find those lines, and then when I suggested adding Trumansburg, I forgot that there's two other districts.
Yeah,
And-
that's okay. I got them and I sent them out to the town board a little late today, but I put a few just really minor edits, was adding the other schools in the district, so I had
Yeah.
only included the Enfield school, so. Thank you.
Stephanie, when I looked at it, it looks kind of odd that there is very, like the Newfield has a few residences in their district, and Odessa Montour, it seems kind of strange that they're part of Enfield.
Yeah, it is. The
it's-
four school districts issue is a problem.
I don't understand why, it just sort of, as we went through the district maps for voting, it just seems like it's kind of strange that it pokes it in a couple spots unless somebody just wanted to be in that district. But
Yep.
I have, there's no real issue with that other than it just shows how Enfield is not being treated like a major entity. So
Yeah.
just a comment from the planning board, or the planning board chair, I'm sorry, not the whole board. So.
Yep, I
Okay,
agree. It's very strange. The line is all over the place. The Trumansburg line kind of comes up and blips around my property and then keeps going. So
yes,
somehow throws me into the Trumansburg school district. I don't know how.
so, okay,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Councilperson Lynch, did you say you do have a TCOG report or don't?
No, there's no TCOG report this month because there was no TCOG meeting in late December. There will be a TCOG meeting in January, so I'll have a report at the February meeting.
Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes? And
Yes,
see
I
if
did.
everyone to know. But we do have
Yes,
three
yes.
that say yes. So I'm gonna split up the consent agenda and we will vote for the audit claims separate from the minutes. And when it comes to the minutes, if you guys could just abstain from those, that would be great. So will you please read the audit?
All right, so we have two abstracts. I'm gonna read the first one, then the second one. Abstract number 13. Includes general fund vouchers, 298 to 310, dated January 11th, 2023, in the amount of $25,681.39. And highway fund vouchers number 220 to 230, dated January 11th, 2023, in the amount of $50,807.14. And abstract number 1 includes general fund vouchers number 1 through 16, dated January 11th, 2023, in the amount of $88,506.60. Included in the general fund vouchers are voucher number 2 and 12 for the fire department, which totaled $65,442.75. And highway fund vouchers number 1 through 5, dated January 11th, 2023, in the amount of $11,173.63.
So I'm going to move the audit claims. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I will just mention that in the general fund vouchers, we are paying for the newly installed heat pumps in the meeting room here, and they are very comfortable.
Thank you. And that was all covered by a NYSERDA grant.
It was.
So it is coming out of our general technically, but it was also came from our grant funding. So that's really great. Thank you, NYSERDA. They are really nice, aren't they?
Mhm.
That's good. Okay, so any other discussion on the audit claims? You call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lundkey.
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch.
Aye.
Councilperson Ritz.
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye.
Carried.
Okay, and I'm going to move for the approval of the minutes.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I have sent some edits along to the town clerk, and I believe the supervisor has as well. But
As have I.
edited, we approve.
Great. And Mary, you call the vote?
Councilperson Hinkle.
Abstain.
Councilperson Lundkey.
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch.
Aye.
Councilperson Ritz.
I didn't read the minutes.
You have to abstain.
Abstain.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye.
Carried.
Okay, so the next resolution is for the 284 highway agreement. I had originally put that on Fridays, but Buddy was gracious enough to get that to us right now, so we threw it onto this agenda. Resolve the town board approves the 284 agreement, highway agreement. I'm going to move that.
Second.
Any discussion?
I would just, I'd like Buddy to explain what we're going to be doing this year. I've seen the 284 agreement, but I think the public would like to know what are the roads that are going to be addressed this year.
As that says, we're going to be repaving Boswick Road for right now.
And there's also there, so the public understands, this is the funding vehicle whereby the town authorizes the money that the highway department spends on roads. And after that, basically the highway department, the superintendent decides, how to spend it. And you have recommended doing Boswick Road, and it's a stretch of Boswick Road between Applegate and 327, that uphill, downhill stretch. And
Yes.
there will also be like $85,000 spent on general repairs, which means anywhere in the town that needs repairing, correct?
Yes.
I looked at the 2019 capital plan, which was the last year that we did a detailed capital plan for highway. And it looked like to me that Bostwick was originally scheduled to be done in 2022. I suppose that the pandemic delayed everything by about a year. Is that correct?
Yep. And then there's some that we did ahead of schedule too. That's on the plan.
Right. I know you did Aiken a couple of years ago. That was the 2020 project. Then there was Rockwell in 2020, Woodard in 2020, Stonehouse in 2021, Porter Hill in 2021, Hines in 2021. And in 2022, in addition to Bostwick, there was Van Doren South between Bostwick and Gray. And also Black Oak. And some of them are already done.
Yes.
So you're satisfied with where we're standing right now in terms of road maintenance?
Well, as satisfied you can be with what we got to work with.
Mhm.
And like in the thing, this probably will be amended as it usually is, depending on what we end up total with state money, CHIPS money. We won't know that till April, usually, when we get the letter verifying what we actually receive.
Any idea as to whether CHIPS will be fully funded this year or not?
The regular CHIPS usually are, but we have the paved New York in the winter, that's year by year. And last year they even had pothole money, which they say this time, if we get pothole money, it's gonna have to be used for pothole money, whatever that's supposed to mean.
Mhm.
Stephanie, we haven't heard back on that FEMA grant for Bostwick.
No, we haven't. I was actually just gonna ask Buddy that if we end up redoing that, stream realignment and redoing the culverts there, is that going to affect, is that gonna change things at all?
Well, we'll just be patching in that over the creek like they do bridges or anything else.
Okay. So it won't affect your decision one way or another. I was gonna say I could reach out to FEMA again. I have reached out several times just to be told that.
Well, if
waiting
it
on it.
happens to be approved before we do the paving, then I might consider putting it off until we get that part done so we could do it all at one time. But other than that, I don't want to put it off. I mean, that road's a main road for one of our main roads, and it's getting in pretty bad shape for being rough and everything.
Yeah, and even if we do get that grant, it's gonna take some time to administer it because we have to go through the whole, wildlife issue with the stream because.
Yeah, you're probably looking at a good year before you get anything started on that by the time you get through everything.
Okay, that's what I thought. What is your timeline for starting that paving project? Is it gonna be a spring thing?
It depends on the scheduling and the weather and stuff. I mean, as soon as we can, we're gonna actually go up. We got some ditching to do, and we're gonna extend the box culvert that's a narrow up there to get that wide out to 20 foot. And be a lot easier going up through there. And then we got a lot of tree work, trim out the trees over the road and stuff. And along the bank that's hanging off the banks. I want to get all that done before we pave it.
I haven't actually been down there. Is that erosion eating into the road a lot more there with the stream?
Not really, no more. I to tell you, them rocks that we dumped there and stuff really helped that out.
Okay.
That we dumped there a few years ago to get started on there.
Okay, good to know.
Going back to that multi-year capital plan that was worked out in 2019, it indicated that in 2023, the three roads that were then targeted for repair were Van Ostren and Fish Road between Rotherham and Enfield, Maine, and Griffin Road. Are any of those done yet? Are they going to be done anytime soon? What's your timeline on that?
One thing is this 5-year plan, and that's all it was a plan. So, you're not. Griffin Road was done in 2021. I mean, I got this stuff here. I don't know where you are. Woodard Road was done 2021. Stonehouse was done in 2021. Half a Porter, the top part was done in 2021. Black Oak Road was done in 2021. Griffin Road was done in 2021. Cove Grove Road was done in 2020. And I say done, a lot of that's chip sealing.
So we're doing pretty well.
We're doing good with the 5-year plan, yes.
Mhm.
Actually, Rockwell Road was supposed to be done in 2020, but like every spring, you look and see what the winter done to the roads and what's the worst ones, and you recalculate, and that road's still about the same as it was when we did the survey. And so we've done other roads that have been in worse shape, and we'll do the same thing this year. We evaluate in the spring and see which ones we need to do most.
Would you benefit in this year, doing another 5-year plan, looking ahead and saying it's not cast in stone, but it's a plan? Should we extend that with perhaps the next 5 years?
Well, when we did this, we hired a extra seasonal from Cornell through the local road program to survey the roads.
Do you want me to look into that?
As
Is that
far,
helpful for you?
we don't
Sorry,
have
what
we don't have the budget for that.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we might be able to get some, you know, some free assistance or close to it. I'm not sure what they have available, but sometimes from their design, you know, department up there, they'll have like a graduate student that needs a program or something like that. Was it helpful or was it just kind of a waste?
Well, I wouldn't say it was a waste, but they only do the information that I give them.
Okay, so that's good to know. One thing I would like to see though, that would help our town board in budgeting in the future, because I was a little concerned about your equipment line. I know our capital plan asked for equipment that's only going up in inflation is hitting us hard. So I want to be prepared for what's coming. And if you could just look at the capital plan, I know it doesn't go that much longer into the future, but if you want to update that at all, or if you want to extend that into the future, just to give us an idea for budgeting, I think it would be really helpful.
Yeah, I think we're required to, right, revise it every 5 years.
That and our comprehensive plan needs update too. So these are things that we really need to start, even though it seems like we just adopted them.
Yeah,
It's
it
quite a
does feel
process
like
to
it,
get to that
doesn't it?
point. And there is actually some funding for capital plan, and I don't know if they can, or sorry, for the comprehensive plan, and I don't know if they can include, you know, any studies for our capital plan into that, but I know our facilities are certainly going to need some things like the roof and whatnot. So I just think that it'd be helpful to have, you know, Buddy's budget going forward for a while and sort of try to incorporate things for the town facilities too, to update those.
I would observe the somewhat riskiness of making long-term highway maintenance plans, because when this in 2020, in 2019, when this 5-year plan was done for the roads, the renovation of Bostwick Road was targeted at $80,000. This year in the 284 agreement, that renovation is coming in at $240,000. Expenses have gone up.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying his equipment line, I don't feel like is funded as high as we're going to need it funded in future budgets. I think that's something we're gonna have to take into consideration when we develop future budgets. So if we had an idea of what we're looking at, so we can start building that reserve, it would be really helpful.
Mhm. Thank you, buddy.
Speaking of the equipment, we have to go up tomorrow and meet with the plow and body company to get our first 10-wheeler suited up. They finally called, and it's at the place up in Harrisville. We have to go up there and go over the controls and everything, and that will be done tomorrow. So we're probably still looking at a good month, if not 2 months, before we'll be receiving that truck.
Now, any other questions for Buddy?
You gotta remember, we've got to vote on this.
All right, thank you, Buddy. Let's go ahead and call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke.
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch.
Aye.
Councilperson Ritz.
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye.
Carried.
Okay, so some residents might and board members might realize we have a resolution that we put on here last month and we are doing it again. Unfortunately, when we adopted our solar law addendum, we had forgotten to do the seeker resolution first. So I had sent around the EAF and our planning board chair, Dan Walker, had done some edits to it. So there was kind of a 11th hour sending of that around. So hopefully people got a chance to look at it, but it was the same. I just added a couple of the schools that I left off of there. So I'm going to go ahead and move the seeker resolution.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
I'm gonna trust other people that they've reviewed it, and dotted all the i's and crossed the t's.
Yeah, Dan's very helpful. with that sort of
I
thing.
defer to Dan on that.
I do too. Okay, Mary, will you call the vote?
Councilperson Hinkle,
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye.
Carried.
All right, and I will go ahead and move the next resolution to adopt the local law.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
I just
Okay.
mentioned that Bob and I have moved forward in setting up a call with the outside attorney to explore further changes.
That's great.
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye.
Carried.
And to continue on with other mistakes that I made, you'll see the resolution that we had in our last meeting for approval of a new member, and I missed, unfortunately, one of our fire company members, Joshua Rumsey. I apologize for that. So approval of new member Joshua Rumsey to the Enfield Fire Company. I'll go ahead and move that.
Second.
Any discussion? Mary, we call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye.
Carried.
Okay, our next resolution is appointment for town planning board member, Rich Teeter. He has been on the planning board for a long time, so we're just reappointing him. I'll go ahead and move that resolution.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All right, Mary, will you call the vote?
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye. Okay, and as Dan mentioned, there is a new member, Greg Hutnick, who has a lot of qualifications. I think will make a great alternate for the planning board. So I'm going to move the resolution for alternate for the planning board. A second,
Second.
any discussion? Mary, will you call the vote?
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye. Okay, and I guess I did include the audit meeting on here, so I'm going to move to set the audit meeting for January 13th of 2023 at 6:30 PM. That's this Friday. Can I get a second? Any
Second.
discussion?
This is, the public might know, it's when we go over the various financial departments of the town. It's legally required. It has to be done before the 19th, I believe, or before the 20th of 20th of January. It's a real bookkeeping thing. It's the most boring meeting of the month. But it's a meeting that has to be done. A lot of paperwork, a lot of oversight by the town board of financial documents. But otherwise, that's just what we have to do. So we'll be here again on Friday, the 13th.
Which is a lucky day. Okay, Mary, we call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye.
Carried.
Okay, next we have the town board meeting dates, staying the same this year. I'll move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Mary, we call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle,
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye.
Carried.
And then next we have department hours. I would like to note 2 changes. The town clerk's office will be open Monday through Thursday now from 11 to 4 PM. And again, the new court hours will be at 6 PM on Tuesday evenings. However, the court clerk will be here from 4 PM to 8 PM. So if residents need to come in and, reschedule their appearance or anything like that, she will be available. She's new to this, so try not to hit her too hard that first Tuesday. So I will move the department hours.
Second,
A second.
Any
Sorry, I was gonna finish, I was
discussion?
writing notes on that one.
All right, Mary, we call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle,
Aye.
Councilperson Lumke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
aye,
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond,
Aye.
carried.
Okay, and next we have the town board regular meeting outline. I'll move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion, sorry?
I move an amendment to that, and I do this every year. I propose that after the call of meeting to order, we put the Pledge of Allegiance in as a regular item on both regular and special meetings.
Is there a second? Hearing none. Any other discussion?
Thank you.
Mary, we call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle,
Aye.
Councilperson Lumke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye,
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond,
Aye. Okay, next we have general rules for procedure and guidelines for the public comment. Nothing has changed from year to year on that. And I will move that resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Second.
Mary, we call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lumke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
aye,
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond,
Aye.
carried.
Okay, next we have bi-weekly pay periods. I will move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Mary, we call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle,
Aye.
Councilperson Lumke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
aye,
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond,
Aye. All right, and next we have paid holidays. I will move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Mary, we call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle,
Aye.
Councilperson Lumke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
aye,
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond,
Aye.
carried.
Next resolution is for town email accounts. I'll move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Mary, we call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Lynch, aye,
Councilperson Lumke,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond,
Aye. Next resolution, official newspaper.
Second.
Any discussion?
I would only say, we wish we didn't have to designate the Ithaca Journal, but it's the only paper that's legally allowed to be designated. They cover Enfield government, not one bit. There are other news organizations that do cover Enfield, but they are not daily newspapers. So under New York state law, hint, hint, we have to designate the Ithaca Journal. There is some effort by Tompkins County to get that state law changed so that we have more flexibility to do this, but that's the way it is now. So we gotta put our legal notices in the Ithaca Journal.
Thank you. Maybe call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lumke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye,
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond,
Aye. Next resolution, code of ethics.
Second.
Any discussion? Mary, we call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle,
Aye.
Councilperson Lumke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
aye,
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond,
Aye.
carried.
Next resolution, records officer, records access officer, sorry. I'll move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Mary, we call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle,
Aye.
Councilperson Lumke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
aye.
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond,
Aye.
And I might just stop to say, if one of our members of our town board now is a legislative aide, this sounds an awful lot like the state senate and assembly when they're casting votes on legislation.
I was beginning to think people are getting really sick of me saying this over and over again. Okay, did we call that vote? Okay,
Okay,
all right. Next resolution, deputy town supervisor. I will move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion?
I would only like to say that Isabel is a great deputy supervisor. I wish she'd come to some of these meetings so that we could interact a little bit, but she is doing a good job and she's a good asset to our town management team.
I'm hoping that she is going to head up our Parks Committee, which is later on in this,
Okay,
I think she's gonna be really great at that. All right, so
We
any
gotta
more
call-
discussion?
okay,
And
we've
then
moved
call-
and seconded that, right? So we're ready to
Yep.
vote?
Yes.
Yeah.
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond,
Aye.
carried.
Next resolution, deputy highway superintendent. I'll move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just like I said the last time, Brandon McGee is doing a bang-up job as deputy highway superintendent. I'm glad to appoint him to that position again.
Mary, you call the vote?
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond,
Aye.
carried.
Next resolution, town building custodian. I'll move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion?
Again, Pat Baker does a great job as town custodian. Glad we can appoint her again.
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond,
Aye.
carried.
Next resolution, planning board clerk. I'll move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Mary, we call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond,
Aye.
carried.
Next resolution, code enforcement officer. I'll move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just again, Alan Teeter does a great job in that position and we're glad to have him on board.
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond,
Aye.
carried.
All right, and next resolution, court clerk. I will move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion?
Again, Laura Norman does a great job as deputy
Or what?
town clerk, and I'm glad that she is a part of the team. And I just had a chance to see her today as I was paying the bills, and she's doing a good job being deputy in our clerk's office.
This was actually for court clerk,
Not there
and you
yet.
know what? I actually,
Oh, this court clerk,
you know what? I actually don't need to put that one on because we appointed her at the last meeting.
town clerk, okay. I see town clerk right
hmm.
here.
Yeah.
This is clerk.
No, under
Court
court
enforcement.
enforcement officer, there isn't court clerk.
There is.
There's, no, it's just the deputy town clerk in the next.
I think I
isn't
might
it?
have taken that off actually of the other one
Okay.
because we appointed her at the last meeting.
Right, the court clerk is off. This is town clerk.
Sorry. So I think we have two different agendas going on here because I had changed that. Okay, so let's back up here. Resolution to for the deputy town clerk. I will move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion?
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond,
Aye.
carries.
Okay, and
Second deputy town clerk. My bad.
did we have a resolution? Did you change that resolution on here?
It is on there. It should be
Okay, not, okay, very good.
accurate.
Yes, it is. We had changed or I should say Mary had changed the wording on that, so I wanted to make sure it actually got posted like that. So I will move second deputy town clerk. Did we get a second? Mary, we call the vote, or sorry, discussion.
Alice Linton, who is very much liked in our town government, former town clerk, and does a good job as deputy town clerk. And again, proud to support her appointment.
We call the vote.
Yes. Councilperson Hinkle,
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond,
Aye.
carried.
Next resolution, tax collector. I will move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Mary, we call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond,
Aye.
carried.
Deputy tax collector, I will move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Mary, we call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick.
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye. All right, next resolution, town bookkeeper. I will move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just that Blixie is a very good bookkeeper. I hope I can learn to pronounce her last name eventually. But she does a very good job and we're glad we have her. She has done great job on the books in this past year, and I'm sure she will do the same, give us good guidance in the year ahead.
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick.
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye.
Carried.
Establishing positions of maintenance for buildings and grounds. I will move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion?
And are we gonna have, do we know who's gonna hold that this year or don't we know yet?
I don't see any reason AJ would not do that. But we haven't signed up anyone yet officially.
And he will do some of the mowing in addition to when the grass starts growing.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we utilized it for last year,
Good.
so.
All right, thank you.
We call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick.
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye.
Carried.
Next resolution, public officials, town employees pay schedule. I will move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Mary, we call the vote. Oh,
Councilperson
sorry. Councilperson Lynch, did you have?
I only wanted to mention that in terms of the council persons pay $36.72 each year, as I said during budget time, I will make out a check for the $72 that's differential between last year and this year and donate it to the town cemetery committee. So that essentially I will not be taking a pay raise this year. I will be turning it back to the town for its use, and I think that's only fair.
And then as a good example, I will also be donating $72 to the ECC this year.
Okay, good, thank you. That's good.
Well, thank you both. Any other discussion? Mary, we call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick.
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye.
Carried.
And then management of town website, emails and hosting. I'll move that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Mary, we call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle,
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick.
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye.
Carried.
No, I wonder if did I put that in here twice? I have appointment to Town of Enfield Planning Board, but we actually have those later on.
We've had those. We made the
Yeah, we already made those. So sorry, I put that in there. Go ahead and scratch that one out because we appointed those earlier because we had two new appointments for that. So the next resolution will be Town Board Advisory Committee Representative Appointments. The only point on this is I am the representative for several different groups here. I hope these don't cause another conflict of interest things. I'm hoping I can stay on these advisory committees. If we might have to choose someone else if that becomes an issue, I won't know.
Is this something that we should delay until February or shouldn't we delay?
I think it's fine. There may be certain things like sign-on letters from the Environmental Management Council if they go to state things that I won't be able to sign on to from the town's perspective. We might need someone else in that case. I don't know. I'll have to wait and get the opinion from the Ethics Commission before I can state one way or another. I mean, if other people want to take some of these on, I would love to take some of these off of my plate, especially things that are not my forte, like the Health Insurance Consortium. Would be helpful, or the Transportation Council actually I think is an incredibly important advisory council or committee. And I do feel like transportation honestly is one of the founding most powerful things to develop a municipality because it really determines access to a lot of people. But if somebody else is interested in these, please let me know.
Well, we can make the appointments this month, and if we have to adjust them in February, we can,
Yes.
because of whatever the ethics investigation said. Before we vote on this, I have one change that I wanted to make at the request of Courtney Bailey, the president of the Enfield Community Council. She has requested that Courtney Bailey, be the designated reporting person this year for the ECC, in addition to myself, rather than Ann Ryder. She has said that.
Okay.
She told me that today.
Okay, so I haven't moved this yet, so I'm going to go ahead and move the town board advisory committee position appointments with the amendment of Courtney Bailey as the appointee for the Enfield Community Council, along with councilperson Robert Lynch.
Okay, right, there are two resolutions regarding advisory committee appointments. The first one, is advisory committee / position appointments. And then there is another resolution regarding 2023 advisory committee appointments to the Finance Committee, Renewable Energy Committee, Water Committee, Park Committee, Celebration Committee. So they're two different things here.
You know what? I changed this on the beginning outline under new business. It should read Town Board Advisory Committee Representative Appointments.
Okay,
So sorry, I did not actually change that with the
Okay.
wording within the resolution itself. So the other one is committee appointments. This one is the representative.
mhm. Right,
But if you look under the outline at the beginning of the
okay.
agenda, you'll see that.
So
Sorry
do
about
we have a mover and seconder on that?
I moved that. I did not get a
Second.
second as amended.
As
So now we,
amended,
so, yep. Any other discussion? Mary, you call the vote?
Councilperson Hinkle,
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye,
Councilperson Rick,
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond,
Aye.
carried.
Okay, and the last resolution we have on our outline for today is the advisory committee appointments. I did add, most of these are like they were. The only other change that I made is I added a park committee with people who have expressed interest. If there are other members of the public who would like to join on to this park committee, I'm sure they would welcome the help. So please feel free to approach us and we will add you. Oh, and I also added a celebration committee, sorry about that, with people who have expressed interest for specifically dealing with this winter celebration that we've been having, Deck the Halls. I don't know if we'll continue to use that name for it in the future, but we do want to continue to have a townwide celebration. So I established that committee too. So I'm going to move the advisory committee appointments.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have an amendment to offer to that.
Yes.
The amendment is as follows. All meetings of the advisory committees for whom members are appointed by this resolution shall be considered public meetings, open to all, and properly noticed in advance by the clerk on the town's website, so as to comply with applicable sections of the New York State Open Meetings Law. Members of the town board, other than those hereby appointed to these advisory committees, may attend committee meetings, but only as members of the general public, and must refrain from meeting participation other than during designated public privileges of the floor, if any. And I move that amendment.
Is there a second? Hearing none. Any other discussion regarding the advisory committee appointments?
A couple of things I will mention. One thing is a little technical correction. Diane Aramini's name was misspelled in the original resolution. It's Aramini.
A-R-A-A.
Aramini.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
And also, I would suggest, although we can't appoint him without his permission, but I would recommend that to the Finance Committee, that we might consider resident Andrew Bremen, who is the
Good.
interim Tompkins County Finance Director.
Okay.
And I would hope that maybe someone would reach out to him to say, can you legally serve on the Finance Committee? And would you be willing to serve on the Finance Committee? And that would be just a suggestion. It's not part of the resolution tonight. It's just an idea.
I think that's a great idea. Do you want to reach out to him or you want me to?
I can do that if you want.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah, let us know. I think he'd be a great addition. He's very knowledgeable. So,
I think in some of the drafts of this, I put that under Renewable Energy Advisory Committee. That was a mistake. It's supposed to be under Finance Committee.
Okay, yeah, let me know what he says. We can always, appoint him in the next meeting, so. All right, so that has been moved. It's been seconded. Any more discussion? Mary, will you call the vote?
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick.
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye.
Carried.
Okay, now we added a couple of things. First, I will make a motion to remove Justice Betty Poole from the Tompkins Trust bank accounts for the Justice and add Justice Thomas Schlee in her place. Is there a second? Any discussion? Mary, we call the vote on that?
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick.
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye.
Carried.
And I will need the minutes for this printed out so I can sign it. If you want to just send them to me, I can print it out on town letterhead. But I'll need to sign it and drop it off at the bank as soon as possible. Okay, just let me know.
I don't think the minutes are gonna be ready tomorrow, but
If it's just this one section, that would be enough. Just the minutes that would
okay,
cover.
and they only needed a motion, they didn't need a resolution, correct?
Yep, just a motion is fine. We just need it, in our,
All right, I'll get
I
that to
think
you
that
for
even
tomorrow.
if it was something that was, signed by you and signed,
I'll-
they just want something
We'll make it
official.
work.
Okay, that sounds great. All right, so the next thing we need to do is set the Restore New York public hearing. This needs to be done before the 27th. Unfortunately, we have a couple of conflicts, and so I'm looking at now Tuesday night courts are here, so we will not be able to host any meetings on Tuesday nights, unfortunately.
Mhm.
I would like us to do this on Monday, the 23rd. Is that possible for anyone?
I can do that.
I don't see a problem.
Okay, then I'm going to move that we host a public hearing for the Restore New York program on Monday, January 23rd, 6:30. Does that sound good, or 6
Mhm.
better?
6:30 would be
6:30,
fine.
okay, so 6:30. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? The only thing that I have for that discussion is I put the intent to apply for 3 properties.
Mhm.
I've only been able to contact 2 of those homeowners. I've been trying to track down this farm trust that owns the other one, and I've not been able to get a hold of anyone, so we might only be able to apply for those 2. I need to start collecting all the data for those and getting estimates and things together. So I'm kind of running out of time to get that 3rd property in there. So that's the only discussion that I have for that. Anything else? All right, Mary, you call the vote for that.
Councilperson Hinkle.
Aye.
Councilperson Lemke,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick.
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye. All right, and Councilperson Lynch, we want to go ahead and,
Yeah, we've got I'll move the resolution. It's a resolution to authorize a public hearing on proposed local law number probably 1 of 2023, a local law to establish a property tax exemption for volunteer firefighters and volunteer ambulance workers. I'll just read the operative clauses. Resolved that the Enfield Town Board hereby authorizes a public hearing on local law number blank of 2023, a local law authorizing section 466A of the New York State Real Property Tax Law, a property tax exemption to volunteer firefighters and volunteer ambulance workers, with said public hearing to be held on February 8th, 2023 at 6:30 PM at the Enfield Town Courthouse and virtually via the town Zoom portal. And be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized to place proper notice of such public hearing in the official newspaper of the town. And I so move.
Second.
all right, any discussion?
As people may know, this is something we've long fought for in the past year, and the state went along with us, and the governor in the latter days of December signed the legislation that allows volunteer firefighters and EMS personnel who qualify, have at least 2 years of service, I believe, to enjoy a 10% assessment reduction on their residential properties if they live in the town and volunteer for our town fire company. And it's something that, to do that, each municipality wants to allow this exemption on their tax rolls, has to have a public hearing and has to adopt a local law. And this is a public hearing to adopt the local law, and the local law should be adopted before the 1st of March, because that's what's called the tax status date. And that would allow people who are eligible to and have this incentive to volunteer for the fire company. And there was a model law that was circulated by Jay Franklin, the Director of Assessment, and I've modified it for Enfield, and Clerk Cornell has posted it on the website, so people will know what the local law is. And I hope that we get positive response at the public hearing and that we can adopt it in February.
I'd like to publicly go on record to thank Councilperson Lynch for doing all the legwork for this and drafting all of those resolutions. I did pass those on to the other town supervisors, and they were also very thankful to have that work pretty much done for them. So thank you very much.
Well, I want to thank the Director of Assessment for doing the local law, because that was what the county considered at its Government Operations Committee meeting last Thursday. And that was there, and I just customized it for Enfield, and other towns can customize it for their own governments, but give him the credit.
Well, thank you to you both. All right, any other discussion regarding setting that public hearing? Okay, Mary, you call the vote.
Councilperson Hinkle,
Aye.
Councilperson Lundey,
Aye.
Councilperson Lynch,
Aye.
Councilperson Rick.
Aye.
Supervisor Redmond.
Aye.
Carried.
Okay, so this is a regular meeting, and I realized that I did not put this on our agenda, but we do have public hearing at the end of, privilege of the floor. Thank you. At the end of a meeting for our regular meeting. So if anyone would like to speak for privilege of the floor, please use the raise your hand button. *9. Raise your hand if you're in the room. Okay, any announcements?
Just that we got through a heck of a lot of
We did
resolutions
that.
in a quick time, that's for sure.
Crazy. All right, any motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Woo! All right.
Okay.
All
We'll see you
right.
all on Friday. Thank you.
Aye.
Good night, Jude.